All right, and we're live. I guess we're just going to, for whatever reason, I can't see this side of my screen. So we'll just work with what we got then. All right. Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. Today we're going to be talking about how to study and interpret the anatomy that George Bridgman has drawn and left for us. So George Bridgman was an instructor at the Art Students League, and he has influenced generations of professional artists. And it's amazing, his books are still relevant over 100 years later. And I believe that George Bridgman's work is something that every intermediate artist should study at least once in their life. At least once. Now, if you're a beginner, this might be a little challenging for you. I'm not gonna lie. But there is so much good stuff to be learned by studying his work. His work focuses a lot on construction and using 3D shapes to construct bodies instead of, the more rounder, fluid shapes. Now, he does get into rhythm, and that's something that we might talk about in a later video. But for the most part, his work is solely focused on construction. So using 3D shapes to create bodies and inform. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And let's get right into it. So one of the biggest mistakes that you see artists make is trying to draw everything all at once. And it's so easy to get lost in because you don't know what goes where or why it even goes there in the first place. So what George Bridgman shows us is how to take those 3D shapes that I was telling you about and put them together. So one of the main shapes that we're going to be using today is a box. So let's just work this up real quick. This is going to be your bread and butter right here. If you don't have a box, then it's very easy to get lost. I promise you, it's very easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to have two of these boxes. One for the rib cage and torso area, and another for the pelvis and hip region. And I'll show you how this comes together. If you can understand these two shapes and how they relate to each other, you'll be able to draw anatomy and draw way more realistic characters and people just by using these shapes here. So when I go back through and edit this, I'm gonna put the body on the side here so that way you can see what I'm referencing. But you guys on the live here won't be able to see that. So we'll just work with what we got. All right. But let's take two boxes, right? This first box, like I said, is going to stand for the torso. And the second box is going to be for the pelvis. And our job here is to understand how they relate to each other. So if this is the torso, right, this counts for the rib cage and the trunk of the body, and this is the pelvis, you can see that already we have movement. And if we were to add the head here, you can see that our character is kind of looking off to the side here, but you can tell there's fluidity here. There's some kind of motion. So let's keep following the reference. And I want to show you how, just understanding how these two boxes relate to each other can now create dynamism in whatever pose you'd like. In this pose, we're going to be drawing a character that's kind of in a dance, right? They're in a very flowy motion. So this will be the arm here. The arm is kind of wrapping across the body. At the elbow right there, this would be the tricep, the deltoid here, and the rib cage is going to wrap around the back of this box here. Very similar to what we have here with this box here. See where this side of the box is. This could count for this side of the rib cage. But since you can see the box within that, you understand, oh, okay, so this side of the box is the rib cage, and you can see how that relates. And we're going to finish up with this arm here. Just bring this arm around. And one of the major things that Bridgman shows us here is that art does not have to be complicated. I feel like a lot of beginners, they lose their mojo because you just see a bunch of lines. You know, when you just see a bunch of lines and a bunch of shapes, it's very easy to get discouraged because you're not sure why these things go there, and you're not sure how to even apply it if you wanted to draw something for yourself. But with these basic shapes here, you have a better understanding of why they go here. This is a structure. We now have a structure similar to a skyscraper or a house or a building. If you don't have any structure in your building, is going to collapse. Same with your drawings. If you don't understand the structure of your drawings, you might know every name of the muscle, but you said, is this love? Yeah, this is love. You might know every name of the muscle, but you will become lost because you're not sure what goes where or what it connects to. And those are two very important things to know when it comes to putting these bodies together and crafting your own image. All right, then we have the other shoulder on this side. Right. And our second arm is gonna come out on this side here. And like I said, you can see just how these two boxes, we've put them in a way where they're kind of off kilter, kind of offset in a swaying motion. And that's going to emphasize this very fluid dancing motion that this character is portraying. So I'm just going to add our hand there. Cool. All right, and let's add the legs. Make sure you guys can see this here. There we go. And so now we're working from the pelvis, this bottom box here, and you can see just how they relate to each other. This is the top box, this is the bottom box. And this bottom box is for our legs. This is what our legs will connect into. So here we are, just adding these legs here. And you can see how this structure just starts to build out the body just from these basic shapes here. And that's what I really want to nail home with you guys, is that the art does not have to be difficult. You know, it might take some learning, it might take a little bit of studying, and that's okay. Everybody starts somewhere. That's the whole point. You know, no one starts off and they're the best at it. The whole point is to learn and grow and strive to be better than what you were yesterday, right? Now, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but at the end of the day, if you're not growing and learning, you're going backwards, or you're staying still, which is the same thing in my book. So we have our knee here. And how far can you guys see? Just got to make sure my camera's in range here. All right. And you can see just how we've worked from these boxes here to create a form and a structure for this body. Right, and just add some more of the pelvis here. You know, you could go through and add abdomens if you wanted to, the abdomen, you know, some of the obliques on the side here. But we won't get into all that. Like I said, once I go through and edit this, you guys will see the reference I was using on the side, and that'll be helpful for you. Just gonna go through and just kind of right. Just add a little bit of shading. Not gonna get too crazy. All right. And let's do one more. Hey Jay, we can't see it. We only see the boxes. Ay, Dios míos. Okay. So you can't see, you can only see the boxes. Let me see. All right, just keep me updated on that, because for whatever reason, half of the screen was blacked out for a few, and it corrected itself on my side, but it might not have did that for your guys' side. So just let me know what that looks like on your side, because I would hate to have to start this over, but I will if I have to. All right. Yeah, it didn't. Can only see the leg. Okay, so here, since I got you up here, what can you see right now? Can you see the whole body? You see this box, these two boxes here, and then the body over here? What do you guys see? The leg only? What? Okay. Not, how about now? Or, well, how about now? Can you see the body now? Now we can see it a little bit more? Okay, here's what I'll do. For whatever reason, YouTube is acting crazy. That's okay. I'm going to restart this. And yeah, we're just going to pick up where we left off. I'll be right back.